My name's Debra Hood and I am the owner of Debra Hood Art here in Brisbane. So growing up virtually as an only child, my brothers had left home by the time I was 3. It led its way to being creative and enjoying colouring in and creating art. I really wanted to do art, but my parents, like a lot of parents at the time, didn't think that that was a viable way of making a living. And so I was encouraged to go into nursing, which I did for a couple of years until I realised that I really needed to get back and go back to the art stuff, and started art school then in Sydney. So probably for about the last 20 years or so, I've been painting the cityscapes. They started when I had a solo show and I did a whole series of nappies on the line, and those were the white cloth nappies. In the background you could just see a peep of houses or a smattering of the mountain or the hills in Brisbane or whatever it might be, but the work was to indicate that that's what I'd seen for so long, wearing children and 10 years in cloth nappies. Everyone really enjoyed them, but few people asked, can you do them without the nappies and just do the houses? And that's where it started. Some works earlier on in the 80s and 90s were really dark pieces, very black, dealing with depression, which has been on and off over the last 40 years. They were very savage pieces. There's so much anger, so much rage within them. Now it's really lovely that there's, colour. Not many turn out black these days, but I think that's just a way to show the joy that I have. Well, I think most of the works now are celebrating the beautiful city that we live in, how lucky we are, the joy of colour, the joy of Brisbane architecture, everything about us. And I guess that's taking in the moment and wanting to share that joy with other people too. And I think that's important. And sometimes the works during COVID, for example, I've had customers say that doing a jigsaw puzzle with your work in it, it was so lovely that it just gave us so much joy. So that was the most amazing response I could have from someone. I go from the really strong, beautiful cadmium yellows that are in the golden penda trees, the ones that are like yellow pom-poms, and the red from the poinciana trees, and obviously the jacarandas, the blues and purples that they provide for us. And it's a very wonderful time for Brisbane because we celebrate all those colours and the beauty that Brisbane has to offer. So I've been painting this for 6 months or so in each one, and you become extremely attached to them at that time. But when you hand them over to the client and their smiles on their faces is just so warm and just affirming, it's the most lovely experience to be able to share that with them. And they can see their kids in the painting climbing a tree, and it's captured a moment in their lives. The team consists of me, and I just paint now because I've got the wonderful Hayden and Piper who are working with me. Hayden does all our admin, all the payrolls and our newsletters, and he's got such a great talent for that. And then Piper, she does a lot of the creative work with me, so she'll do making our candles, our confetti domes, lots of the merchandise, and she comes up with some great ideas and we discuss different things that we could do for the next lot of product releases. So between the three of us, we really enjoy what we do. We also have Moss and Claude, and they're our resident fur babies. Over the years, I've done a number of traffic signal boxes and painted them out in the public arena, and that's been fantastic for meeting community members and people that come past just have a chat or bring along a coffee. Or what I really love is when you're doing community painting and you get to meet so many dogs in particular. It's great. Brisbane's just a continuum of inspiration when you drive around the different suburbs, so there's always going to be different houses and beautiful homes for me to paint. The river's never-ending source of inspiration as well, and the city, which is growing so fast, I can't keep up with the buildings there, so I'm never going to be out of things to paint really within this city. It's just wonderful. The paintings are very detailed, so obviously my brushes are extremely small and fine, and they take a long time, each piece, but it's a gradual build-up of all the layers. I start with black and then build forward from there with all the colours and the tones. But the flow that you have while you're working is such a great state to be in, so time becomes absolutely nothing and just such an enjoyable process. We also use those artworks to create different types of merchandise, which has been really successful for the business. And it came from a need of when I went overseas with my daughter's school and was trying to find small gifts that were celebrating Brisbane and that we could take with pride and say, this is what Brisbane is. And I couldn't find anything And all of it is really to make sure that we're celebrating Brisbane and showing the rest of the world how beautiful our city is. I want to go on producing really good quality, beautiful merchandise that people can feel proud to gift to others. And I'm looking forward to the Olympic Games because I've just got so many fun ideas. The bin chicken has to be mascot, just putting it out there. Hopefully we can continue to create and thrive and work through to the Olympics. Ultimately, what I'd like to be able to do is become known as the Ken Dunn of Brisbane. So Ken in the 80s had a huge impact on the tourism and the way Sydneysiders themselves saw their own city, and that to me is just an incredible feat for an artist, and so that's a big goal that I have. Joy is such an important element in my painting and my merchandise, my artwork, and if I can pass that joy on to someone else, then I've done my job.